So we're sitting here with the document approved for release in the September of 2003 in the CIA. It's from the department in the Army, intelligence, and it is a writing that was a response back to after somebody got a decent amount of the budget to explore something that they felt they for sure needed to look into. He came back with this dossier just to explain a few things in his case file. So that way it's very clear why they spent that money. So this has, on the surface, nothing to do with you opening up your spiritual book and then reading about something in there or hearing one of my recordings and knowing I'm about to go into the spirituality. I'm about to go into the deep aether. This is about what has to happen in a room where everybody's wearing a suit and a tie, has a certain amount of money they're getting paid every year, are already in a loop of secrecy, and are carrying out missions in order to pursue the protection and the ability to protect the nation, if you may, and the nation being the little organization that they created amongst themselves, their corporation. So here it is. It says to the commander, and I'm going to breeze through this. This is a 26-page document. Give me 1 second. I did so because although it was essential to avoid attempting to render an assessment in the context of such systems, I felt that it was necessary after having completed the analysis to point out that the resulting conclusions do not do any violence to the fundamental mainstream of either Eastern or Western belief systems, meaning that all belief systems bear witness to this power in the depths of what they're actually trying to say, the esoteric side of them. Unless that point is clearly established, the danger exists that some people will reject the whole concept of the gateway experience and a mistaken belief that it contradicts and therefore is alien to all that they hold to be right and true. Because what people hold to be right and true is their religion. And so he's trying to say, listen, if you're even going to explain this, you need to already explain to somebody, especially that has any kind of religious construct, which could be anybody even at the base, that, hey, this doesn't refute what you've learned in your religion. It basically confirms it, or else we won't even be able to get them to believe because it's so deep in them, their religion, they will refuse to believe this truth. So it goes on. This study is certainly not designed to be the last word on the subject. But I hope that the validity of its basic structure and of the fundamental concepts upon which it is based will make it a useful guide for other USANSCOM, which is the secret agency personnel who are required to take the gateway training or work with gateway materials. Why? Because Central Intelligence use gateway. So they're not in time anymore. Once you understand what gateway is, so train operatives that know how to move through time for real. So let's finish it. Let's finish this. I'm not going to go. This is 26 pages, but I have a few things that you need to understand because when I go into Hootie, it's going to make perfect sense to you, everything that I'm talking about, especially in relation to the consciousness and what consciousness really is, intellect, what intellect really is, because now it'll be irrefutable. Watch this. Introduction. The gateway experience brain hemisphere synchronization in perspective. Introduction. In order to describe the Monroe Institute technique for achieving altered states of consciousness, the gateway experience involving the brain hemisphere synchronization or hemisync, the most effective way to begin is to briefly profile the basic mechanics which underlay the operation of related methods such as hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback. It is easiest to effectively describe what gateway is by beginning with a short description of those associated techniques that share some common aspects with the gateway experience, but which are nevertheless different. In this way, we can develop a frame of reference at the outset, which will provide useful concepts to explain and understand gateway by comparison as we proceed. The first aspect of this, a first way of understanding this, hypnosis. According to the theories of psychologist Ronald Stone, and these are not theories, by the way, and the biomedical engineering models of Ishak Bentov, hypnosis is basically a technique which permits acquisition of direct access to the sensory motor cortex and pleasure centers, that permits acquisition of direct access to the sensory motor cortex and pleasure centers and the lower cerebral emotional portions and associated pleasure centers of the right side of the human brain following successful disengagement of the stimulus screening function of the left hemisphere of the brain. I'm going to make this simple to you. The only thing that he's saying is that what hypnosis is putting one side of the brain to sleep and then leaving a pathway open that the other side of the brain thinks it's getting suggestions from the same process that it always gets suggestions from. And because there's basically no lock there, the brain is used to talking to the other side of the brain. So if something starts talking to the side of the brain that holds all your emotional structure and everything like that, if it starts talking from that same channel, it doesn't check it and say, wait a minute, are you somebody else? It takes the command. And because of this, miraculous things were discovered. I'm going to go on.